Hi, my name is Swan and this is Frequency Spectrum. In this episode, we'll look at sound effects. Sound effects and sound in general are something overlooked, but in the absence of sound is when we truly admire its effects on the game. We'll start off with a listening example. I'm gonna remove the audio from the gameplay and watch what happens when I bring it back. When there was no audio, we just saw a moving picture. Once I brought the volume of the audio up, we started to hear life, cars, crowds, city ambiances. I see sound as the soul of the game. Just as art is the face and visual identity, sound is the character and personality of the game. Anyway, we'll have a listening challenge here. Close your eyes and try to guess the thematic of the clip that I'm playing. There's two separate clips that have two different sound characteristics. Try to guess which characteristic goes with each clip. If you didn't close your eyes, you would see that I played the exact same clip but with two separate soundtracks. I used the same clip from Demon's Souls with its original audio and then swapped out for Mario Galaxy audio. As we could see and hear, there's a problem with the sync. The character of the sound does not match the theme of the art. It shows how important the sound effects have to be in sync with the thematic of the game. Sound effects are broken down into many categories. These are just some of the categories of sound effects. Like I said, I think that sound is the soul in video games. You hear a sound, it brings you back to the time you first heard it or a powerful memory with the sound. This sound is from Smash Bros. Melee, always brings me back to the time me and my cousin would play for hours on end. Even back to the earliest days of games, games were really simple when it came to game design, but designers never forgot the importance of sound effects. Now a lot of the most iconic sound effects come from these early games. This episode will look at redesigning a Cyberpunk 2077 pistol and an EMP grenade. Doing redesigns is a really great way to practice your sound design. Even though we're going to try to get close to the original sound, it's really hard to get the same sound as in the game, so it helps us to find our own design voice. For the pistol, I have it broken down into 3 layers: a primary fire layer, a character layer, and a mechanical layer. With all these layers, we'll get a complete and convincing sound of a weapon. The primary fire to give it a realistic feel. The character layer adds to the sci-fi element of the pistol. Combined with the mechanical layer, so it sounds like the bullet is coming out of a pistol instead of thin air. And some good old compression to glue them together. I also added sounds for the movement and reload of the pistol. As you can see, the pistol was an interesting reload animation and didn't just want it to be a basic reload. So when the slide comes back into place, I added some compressed steam sound that followed the movement of the slide. Little details like this will add to your sounds. Next is the charge up sound of the pistol. The first sound is a mechanical beep as the gun loads the burst. This is a charge up sound as an indicator for the user of the pistol that the gun is charging the burst shot. This is the sound I was going for the mechanical insides of the gun, the sound it would make during the charge up. Next is another beep sound that I used as an affirmative sound to the user that the burst is ready. And lastly, a low end synth hum to go with the first synth charge sound. As we can see, a lot of layers of sound go into recreating a convincing gun sound. As sound designers, we have to think not just about the gunshot itself, but also the mechanics of the gun, the size of the gun, the player's perspective to the weapon. All these factors influence how a sound designer goes about making sound effects for the weapon. Next, we'll look at the EMP grenade. For some layers, we'll use a guitar and some effects pedals for the grenade. Using modulation pedals is how I'll try to achieve this sound. I'm going to have some distortion and reverb so we can have a bigger sound for the charge up. I'm going to use the rate and depth control of this Keeley Dark Side pedal. I'm going to have the rate at full, and we're going to move the depth knob to get that charge up sound. I'm going to detune my guitar at the same time to get some movement in the sound. That's a cool sound we can use for a charge up. Guitar pedals, especially modulation pedals like delay, chorus, reverb, can be used for a lot of creative moments in sound design. Let's take a look at this Pink Panther delay pedal. Playing around with the dark knob and the pedal doing the same process, we'll see what sound we get. I know sound designers and musicians often overlap, so if you guys play guitar and like some game audio, try to see what kind of sounds you can get out of your pedals. This sound is the arming sound for the grenade. I used the pedal sounds for this one on reverse and another higher pitch, and I cut the sound to fit the video. Lastly, the mechanical layer for the inside of the grenade as it arms. For this next sound, I decided to add a charge up before the EMP explosion. The original sound for the grenade did not have a charge up, but I decided to add one for my personal touch. For this sound, I also used the delay pedal sound for all the layers. One of them sped up to get a faster charge. Secondly, a sharp rising charge up for the main layer. Lastly, a low end layer that is slowed down from the pedal sounds. For the explosion, I added a lot of electrical sounds from my sound library, layered them together to get the sound. I used the C4 explosion and put an aggressive fade out. I didn't want to get the aggressive tail that makes it sound as a fire explosive. I just wanted the impact of the sound. I also used a Tesla coil sound for the remains of the explosion, also a wind sound mixed with electric sound to react to the leftover energy after the explosion. For the Foley parts of the grenade, I use a weapon being drawn out of the holster for that metallic sound. Simple metallic impacts and weapons being tossed on the floor when the grenade is rolling on the floor. For the smaller details, I use the metal lighter for the sound for the button guard. Sound effects exist in video games for player feedback and immersion. Since video games are virtual worlds made of code and pixels, sound is what adds that warmth and relatability to the virtual world. Done correctly, sound is one of the main ingredients for us to completely forget that we're in a virtual world and become immersed in the game. Like we saw earlier in the video, the wrong sound in the wrong setting can break immersion of the game, and that's the last thing we want as sound designers. We want to bring that subtlety to the world, that personal connection with the world. Without the sense of sound, we would be lost to the finer details of a scene. Try watching a movie mute and you'll see what I mean. Even in the days before there was sound in film, there had to be descriptions to fully understand what was going on. Thanks for checking out the video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment of any ways that you have used guitar pedals to make sound design. If you're not a guitar player, any other technique that would seem outside of the box. Thanks again, till next time.